So finally at 9 o'clock, here comes our savior to save us from. Oh, and there was a girls' tag team match and a SmackDown Rock recap. But then at 9 o'clock, as I said, here comes Cody. And before I even talk about what he said and did, and this may lead into another topic we're going to have to talk about the horrible double standard that The Rock is exerting over the WWE. He's holding them hostage. Do you have the ratings? You sent them to me. That's how I knew about it. Can you pull up the ratings for Monday Night Raw for the episode? And by the way, we are talking about, we didn't even date this thing, March 18th. But I want to illustrate who the most over babyface in fucking wrestling is right now.
Jim, I have the quarter-hour ratings right here. These are from WrestleNomics. And just to give an example, the quarter you just recapped, the Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter. And then SmackDown recap in an ad break quarter. That did 1.7 million viewers.
And right there, the worst that WWE can present doubles Dynamite. Go ahead.
And that's also above the trend line. We've been talking about that lately for AEW programming. This is above the trend line significantly. And then quarter 5, 9 to 9:15 p.m., Cody Rhodes' promo, confrontation with Paul Heyman, and then Nia Jax's backstage promo, 1.96 million viewers.
They gained almost 300,000 people for Cody's quarter. And that
should be the segment. Welcome to Cody's Quarter.
Cody's Corner. Or Cody's Quarter. Or Cody's Corner Quarter. And that was the high point of the show, correct? Cody has become the Raw version of The Rock on SmackDown.
It was the high point of the show in terms of quarter hours, but also for the key demo. Before it was 739,000 18 to 49-year-old males, and then it went to 841.
And so, anyway, now Cody did not even ask us what we wanted to talk about. Because he was serious, because Rock had fucking dug into him on SmackDown, as everyone heard, and talked about his mama. And Cody said, The Rock says he's our favorite heel. Well, I've known some heels. And Heenan and Arn Anderson, Billy Graham and Ric Flair. And he said, Rock, you're not a heel. You're an asshole. And he came back with a promo where you make fun of me for crying, talking about giving my mother a championship belt, but haven't you been crying behind the scenes to the board of directors the whole time? And he basically buried Rock for being a backstage politician and his bid for the main event backfiring, and put him over as a star, but called him a carny succubus and a whiny bitch and a terrible salesman. And
your old job.
Well, there you go. He's taken over. And then he brought up The Rock's mom. You brought up my mom. I know your mom. She's a wonderful lady. I have respect for her, and you should return that to the perfect babyface line. And makes Rock look like a fucking asshole. And then I need to know more details on exactly the story of Michelle beating up an undercover cop at a Willie Nelson concert.
That's a weird thing to drop. Yeah, I know. That was a weird thing to just throw in there I've never heard before.
Yeah, but a weird thing to make up, too. So I'd like to hear more. But anyway, that's where, he started asking Rock if he's sure of himself. You haven't been in a ring in years. Are you going to have BDE, Big Dwayne Energy, or LDS, Little Dick Syndrome? And got a big pop for that. Because they're finally recognizing as TKO as a company. Well, maybe not finally. Maybe many people have recognized all along that the only thing that that they haven't been doing, that they goddamn needed to do badly since the Attitude Era, is actually appeal to a few adults with some shit instead of bleeping, When you bleep shit, I always stuck with the dictionary rule. If a word is in the dictionary, it ought to be allowed to be spoken on television by the FCC. That's how I was able to get away with fornicator on USA Network. It's biblical.
But it may not be the FCC's actual rule, though.
Well, the FCC or the networks or the various standards and practices use the dictionary rule. If it's in the dictionary, it can't be goddamn obscene. Find me an obscene word in the dictionary. I'm waiting. Read the whole thing.
You're going to keep waiting.
All right, anyway. So then Cody said that Rock, referring to the final boss, hey, kudos to Brian Gerwitz for that. And but at WrestleMania, you're not going to be the final boss. You're just going to be Roman Reigns' side chick. And boom goes the dynamite. And then here comes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul. I shouldn't wear pinstripe suits, Heyman. And he waddled to the ring with the microphone in a suit made from a circus tent from the, I know a lot of the circuses are folding these days, Brian, going out of business. They've had wholesale sales of their equipment, like their tents and everything. And Paul's Taylor got almost a brand new one, it looked like. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes. Anyway, are you just going to sleep on me?
I'm going to sleep on Raw. No,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how many times I could try to get you to stop personally assaulting with words Paul Heyman. He's done nothing to you in many, many years. He's a different person now than he was when he cost all of his wrestlers all their money.
He's two different people now than he was 30 years ago. Anyway, and Paul again, a tremendous performance. I offer an apology to you. My plan 3 weeks ago sucked with the NYPD police officers. His ankle with the officers sucked. He said it didn't work, and I apologize. And Cody's no Hall of Famer. Paul, come on in the ring. But Paul would stay on the apron. And basically, they did the challenge for another confrontation on Friday Night SmackDown. This time, Roman's going to go face-to-face with Cody, and no Bloodline members will be involved except Paul. And you have Roman's word, if you show up alone, then he will too, except for me. And Cody says deal, and Paul again asks for Cody's word that he'll be alone, and Cody says deal, and he shakes Paul's hand. So now the mystery about this interview is who's going to actually show up, right? And is there someone else that's not a member of the Bloodline? Or is somebody on Cody's side going to break the deal and call what the fuck is? It's not a match. It's not really anything you can advertise and sell tickets to on a show. It's just, again, an interview hyping another interview that will do a massive quarter-hour rating on network television.
I think Cody has to be careful. He's starting to get a little too workshoppy in his promos again. I mean, first of all, before anything else, any issues with how inside he was talking, for lack of a better term?
No, because he even said that. And it makes sense to, if he, what was the term he used? He said, this is kind of inside the heels and the baby faces. Or he didn't even say baby, he said heels.
Heels. Talked about heels, talked about Gewirtz being his writer.
Well, he didn't say your writer, Brian Gerwitz. He said, kudos to Brian Gerwitz for that one. Well, that's what I'm talking about when you talk to both audiences. The other audience might not know, but he said, hey, I'm talking inside here with some of these terms. So now people understand, okay, if I'm just watching a TV show instead of one of these fucking lunatics like Cornette and Last that watch all this shit and fucking follow everything, then they've already told me I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm following the story because he's telling me a story that if I just understand English, I can follow too. It's not predicated on referring to inside things that few people know as the crux of your goddamn bone of contention. That's still the universal title and finish in the story. And The Rock standing in the way being a movie star. But since they apparently now are cornering the market on smart fans too, they're giving them because they've seen the criticism from folks on, the double standard on The Rock and the language he gets to use and the things he gets away with and how he can go long on his promos. Well, it's a double standard for Cody because he's another part of the fucking main event mix. So now they're realizing that if you let the main event guys, that's what I said before, talk to some adults a little bit more. If you let the main event guys that can do it and get away with it and make it all make sense, they can use a little more language or they can talk a little more fucking sharply and don't let every goddamn jackleg up and down the card from first match to last do the same shit until it is devalued. These are the guys, the main eventers, and Roman Reigns is in that group. They're the ones that need to be using the language and doing the whatever the fuck they want to do. They can come out there and take a shit in the ring. Drawing ratings like this in this era and fucking attention and their premium live event, goddamn, they don't even do pay-per-view anymore per se, but you know what I'm telling you. Getting eyeballs and money, selling tickets. These are the guys that need to be doing shit like that. That's my point. And at this point, even if Cody does get workshoppy, the people are not going to... He was dusty-ish again. Dusty with a goddamn thesaurus. I can hear it. I can see in my mind's eye.
Dusty if he memorized everything he was going to say over and over again before he went out there. That's the problem. And Cody is the most over babyface there. But especially with the kind of stuff The Rock's doing, where he has a minute where he's a killer heel, and then like the other 9 minutes, he'll be telling jokes and getting people to laugh and cheer him. Cody risks turning some fans right now when he hasn't had that issue like he had in AEW in WWE. It may not happen right away. But
he ain't going to, because now he's the best actor in a fucking Broadway play, not the goddamn...
No, he's not the best actor in the play. He's in the best play, and he's the lead actor. That's the difference.
Yeah, well, there you have it.
But, but that's the thing. The Rock is doing stuff, even though he's the heel, where he's causing fans to cheer him. It's a choice. He doesn't have to do that. If he just went out there and did the killer heel stuff, it would work right now. Everything would work. But he's choosing to do stuff that's going to get him cheers, while Cody's going the other route. He cried last week on TV. You didn't see that. And now it's this. The story stuff is him finishing his story is becoming less intriguing to me than the continuing drama and adventures of the Bloodline and Roman and The Rock.
I think he made a good comeback here to an evisceration that The Rock gave him and stands his ground as for the younger people. Instead of the kick-ass, instead of being Dusty out there with the fucking steel-toed boot or whatever, he's going to be more meaningful about this. And, but at the same time, he got the zingers in, and a lot of people are not going to remember that he was potentially over-theatrical, but instead that he said the word dick and got bleeped for asshole and whatever the fuck.
For the first time in a long time, maybe, I can't remember in WWE him doing it before, he wore an all-black suit, black shirt, black jacket. I mean, everything was black. Any thoughts on that? I mean, he's the top babyface going into WrestleMania. All of a sudden, it was a noticeably different look.
I saw his suit, but he's always immaculately dressed. But maybe in this way, he wanted to subliminally give the message that he's going to be a little darker going forward. Or maybe that was just what Brandy picked out for him. I don't fucking know.
Now, here's the other issue with this segment. This is the 9 o'clock hour. When this segment ended, I started doing some math in my head of who else could be left to be on this show, and I kind of lost my interest in the rest of the show.
Well, there you go.